This is my TNA Sacrifice 2010 pay-per-view predictions. Now, after I give my preview and predictions for TNA's Sacrifice 2010 is airing tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view, I'm going to give my thoughts on a couple topics I haven't given my thoughts on yet. Since I haven't done a video in a little while, I apologize for the lack of videos this is probably the first video I've done in about 2 weeks, so apologize for the lack of videos, but I'll throw in my thoughts on Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, getting eliminated from Next this past Tuesday, thoughts on some of the things that happened at the WWE draft, and my thoughts on TNA moving back to Thursday nights and what I think of that. First, let me get on to my predictions on Sacrifice 2010. Like I said, it's going to be airing tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. Gotta say, for this pay-per-view, it looks like it possibly could be a very good pay-per-view outing from TNA. The main event with AJ Styles and RVD is like one of those matches. Now, I don't want to call it a dream match because we've already seen it before on TNA Impact where they kind of gave it away on free TV and RVD won the title there. That was just a little taste of what them two are probably going to do on this pay-per-view, and this is going to be the type of classic, possibly 5-star type classic that many people have always wanted to see against these two, RVD versus AJ Styles in the main event of the pay-per-view. Anderson and Hardy could possibly be good as well. Next division title match, and really, there's only one match on this pay-per-view I would say is going to be in the category of god-awful and terrible and shouldn't be on here, and that's the Orlando Jordan versus Rob Terry match. Now, the first matchup is going to be the #1 contenders match for the Tag Team Championships. This is going to be Beer Money Incorporated versus Team 3D versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, since it looks like they're going to be going the route of a Team 3D versus the band of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash for the Tag Team Championships, obviously Team 3D is going to win this match so they can have their feud can continue, and this time it will be for the Tag Team Championships. Kind of hoping Motor City Machine Guns win, but I'm kind of almost giving up on the Motor City Machine Guns. Not as I'm giving up on Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, or the team in itself. I'm really just giving up on TNA ever giving them a chance to hold on to the Tag Team Championships, because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And when it does, no one's going to even care that, oh, hey, they finally won it after how many years of them trying to go after it, where it's just going to be like, no one's going to care at all. And that's probably what they'll do. They'll probably maybe give them the title sometime down the line, but it's going to be at the point where it's so far past the time people want to see them, it's going to be pointless to even put them on the top, put the championships on them, because no one's going to really care. So Team 3D will most likely win this, like I said, so they can have the Team 3D versus band feud continue, and this time it will be for the TNA Tag Team Championships. Now, the next matchup will be Terror versus Madison Rayne. This is career versus knockouts title, and obviously with Terror ending her TNA time on this pay-per-view, this is going to be the last time she's going to be on TNA, and it's either being rumored she might go back to WWE, or obviously the other thing she has been talking about trying for a little while is trying to do something in mixed martial arts. So either of those two avenues she would go, and this is going to be the last time she's going to be in TNA. So she's obviously going to lose this match, and Madison Rayne's going to keep a hold of the Knockouts Championship. Now, maybe Terror can pull out a good match with her, especially considering this is going to be the last time Terror is going to be in TNA, so this could possibly be one of those matches where it's her last match in TNA and she wants to, go out with a bang and have a great women's match on pay-per-view. Do I think it's going to be a great women's match? No, but it has the possibility if Terror could pull out a good match against Madison Rayne. And like I said, Madison Rayne's obviously going to retain the Knockouts title. Next matchup will be the match that no one cares about. It's Orlando Jordan versus Rob Terry for the Global Championship, or should I say the Who Gives a Fuck title, because that title pretty much has the same amount of prestige that the Hardcore title in WWF, WWE had back in 2000 and 2001. 0 ounce of credibility. Now, TNA, I like the idea of them wanting to have another title other than the X Division Championship and a World title, and have something like another title, but they need to actually have a real mid-card title, maybe something like a TV title or something on the lines of their version of a U.S. title or Intercontinental Championship. This global title isn't cutting it, and it's just a joke of a title. It's just there, pretty much. Orlando Jordan will probably win this match and become the new global champion like no one would even care, and it's obviously going to be a terrible match. Then the next matchup will be Desmond Wolfe versus Abyss. This is Chelsea versus The Ring with a stipulation to it. Now, the only thing that's going to be bad about this match is the stipulation kind of hurts it already, but the one thing you're probably going to see in this match is probably going to be overbooked, and it's going to be a complete clusterfuck, I feel, because you're probably going to see Flair get involved, you might see Hogan get involved, I don't think you'll see Bischoff do anything, but probably Hogan and Flair might get involved. It'd be one of those types of matches where it's just completely overbooked. And if it wasn't like that and it just had, it was just a regular match or a falls count anywhere, no DQ match, these two probably could have a good match, but stipulation and probably the way it's going to be booked is probably not going to turn out to be as good as what it possibly could be, because I think these two could have a good match against each other. And obviously, with this match, Abyss is going to go over and pick up the victory because Desmond Wolfe is nothing more than a jobber to the Stars, a main event jobber. That's pretty much all he is. He does have a lot of good he's had a lot of good matches in TNA and has been, showcased pretty well within TNA for the most part, as far as getting his name established a little bit. But other than that, he's pretty much a complete jobber within TNA, and Abyss will win this match without a doubt. Then the next matchup is going to be the X Division Championship match. This is Douglas Williams versus Kazarian. Now, this is not going to be your typical X Division match, meaning that this isn't going to be like the type of, high-flying, death-defying X Division style that you would think that you would see normally in the X Division from like the guys like the Young Bucks, aka Generation Me, and the Motor Machine Gun, Jay Lethal, and those types. This is more or less going to be kind of like a lot of mat wrestling, technical-based match, which is going to be good to see against these two, because these two have worked pretty good for the times they've been in the ring against each other. I think this could be a very good match, and it's probably going to be the second best match of the night. I mean, obviously with the main event, I don't think anything's going to be an AJ Styles versus RVD match, but this match could be great as well. It's not going to be your typical X Division match. Obviously, you're going to see Kazarian, pull out some, X Division stuff. It's going to be a fast-paced match in some portions where he has the offense, but more or less it's going to be kind of a more technical-based, ground-based match with Doug Williams kind of doing that mostly in the match, and Kazarian will win this match and retain the X Division Championship. Then the next matchup is pretty much a tag team title match that definitely isn't pay-per-view worthy. It's just something they pretty much threw together because it's Inc. Incorporated of Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal versus the band of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Matt Morgan, at first it was going to be looking like that they were just going to do Matt Morgan versus them two in a handicap match or something like that for the tag team titles, or he'll have a mystery partner. But obviously this past Thursday night on Impact, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash defeated Matt Morgan for the tag team championship, so they're new tag team champions. So obviously with that right there, they're obviously going to retain the titles. And not only that, they're not going to lose the titles to a team of Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal. That's just not going to happen. And like I said earlier, I'm thinking they'll take on Team 3D, and they'll have a Team 3D versus the band feud for the tag team championships. Or maybe they'll go the route of having the band versus the Motor Machine Guns, because I do know Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, maybe not TNA management, but at least Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, especially Kevin Nash, has gone to bat for Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley in the past, so maybe they'll go to bat for them and tell TNA, hey, let's put these titles on these young guys, Motor Machine Guns, let's put them over and try to establish them like they should be established within TNA. So they can go either route there, but I'm saying most likely you're probably going to see a Team 3 versus band feud. Then the next matchup is going to be Mr. Anderson versus Jeff Hardy. This match is kind of a match that I'm not going to say got thrown on at the last minute, but it's kind of like a replacement match because it was originally going to be a Mr. Anderson versus Pope match before the Pope got injured, because that's what their plan was going into this pay-per-view. And if the Pope didn't get injured, you might have seen Jeff Hardy, instead of being involved in this match, might have gotten involved in the main event and having the triple threat on pay-per-view with AJ Styles and RVD instead of being involved in this match. Jeff Hardy's going to obviously win this match. I don't see Mr. Anderson defeating him. And the next matchup is going to be Sting versus Jeff Jarrett. Now, a lot of people are probably going to think I'm going to say this match I don't care about seeing, or this is worthless being on the pay-per-view. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I'm clamoring for it, though, but I'm not going to say it's going to be a bad match, because these two actually have good chemistry with each other. They've pulled off very good matches before. They've even pulled off some matches I would almost put in the category of very good to some actually close to great matches against each other in the past. And like I said, they have good chemistry, and they can possibly pull off a good match. I mean, these are the two former, stars of the past of, two former WCW stars, Jarrett and Sting, taking on each other that I really don't dislike seeing. Just as long as it ain't the main event of a pay-per-view, and just as long as it ain't a title match, I'm fine with it. And Sting's going to win this match because there's no reasoning for Jeff Jarrett winning this. Sting with this whole, still going through his heel turn and all that, and, still establishing him as a, strong heel. he has to pick up the victory here and defeat Jeff Jarrett. Then the main event is going to be RVD versus AJ Styles for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And this should be a great match, barring that TNA doesn't, do some, fucked up ending where they do some screw job type ending or overbooked type ending where a lot of interference is involved and it hurts the quality of the match. But just as long as they don't do this, this could be a classic match. This match right here, if it's booked the way it should be, and, just have them two go out there and form a great match, this could be possibly TNA's match of the year. Not only match of the year, could possibly be one of the top matches of the year in wrestling all around. And it could be actually a match, given 25 minutes or something like that, and they just go out there and perform, to their full ability. It could be possibly, a 5-star type caliber match, which that might be given a little too much. That might be thinking a little too much going into it, like that's what I want the quality to be. That might be wanting too much from it. But I think these two could possibly do that and have a match of that caliber. RVD is going to retain the title. AJ Styles is not going to, RVD is not just going to have the title for a couple weeks and AJ Styles just get it back. I just don't see that happening. So RVD will retain the title here. And it looks like it could be a good pay-per-view outing from TNA. Now let me get on to a couple other quick wrestling thoughts I want to get into. Firstly, being TNA moving back to Thursday nights, officially this past Thursday was their first time going back to Thursday nights. And I think this is the best move for TNA is to go back to Thursday nights because going to Monday nights, it was kind of cool to see, two wrestling shows, WWE versus TNA, on at the same time. But everyone, even I think the most diehard TNA fan, would even admit that TNA was not ready to go against Monday Night Raw on Monday nights. They just weren't ready. What they need to do, if they want to try the Monday night experiment again and try going to Monday night again, what they need to do is make sure they establish themselves on Thursdays, meaning establish themselves enough that they think they could possibly draw a 2 on Monday night. Establish your show that you could maybe start within a year or two start getting a rating of a 2.0 or maybe a 2.5. Then when you get in that type of realm where you think you're drawing enough ratings on Thursdays that you're not going to get hurt going to Monday nights, and then do it. But I think it's going to be a little while till they would want to try it again. At least that's what I would do if I was TNA. I would give it another year and a half, maybe 2 years, establish themselves, and not only that, improve some stuff with their organization. Make sure they, try to be an alternative to WWE. Don't try to be like WWE. And one thing is that they want to do different than the WWE is make sure that they, kind of not cater just to the casual fans, not just cater to the internet fans. Most people say I would want them just to cater to the internet fans. I'm not going to say that because you're not going to, be a successful product as far as mainstream wise, trying to go against WWE if you try to do that. So you just need to make sure you have a good mix of, catering to the mainstream, casual fans and the internet fans, hardcore fans as well. And if you do a good mix of that, you can do some good stuff because I think no one has a problem with guys like Jeff Hardy, RVD, and Mr. Anderson there, especially RVD and Jeff Hardy. They fit perfectly in TNA. Mr. Anderson can be like that guy like Christian, guy that never got his due in WWE for some political reasonings and other stuff, that he could work in there and then just, try to, build some stars up and establish some young talent. That's the other thing they need to do if they want to establish themselves and make sure they have a chance to even someday compete against WWE. I don't know if it will ever happen, but if it does, it's going to be probably another 2-3 years down the line if they ever get to that level, which is highly unlikely because that's going to be kind of hard for them to do. It's kind of hard for any wrestling promotion other than WWE kind of establish themselves in the mainstream to the level of even being close to ever getting to the level of WWE. Now, as far as Brian Danielson getting eliminated from Next, don't have any problem with that. I know some people are like, why did they eliminate him? But the way they eliminated him was okay because especially the promo he did with the interview backstage with Matt Stryker was just a very, very good way to, kind of kill off the Daniel Bryan character. He says, well, Daniel Bryan, yes, he's done. Daniel Bryan, is gone. But Bryan Danielson is here to stay, kind of like that within the promo. So, and especially with that, there's some rumors that with the whole Miz and Bret Hart thing that's going to be happening on Monday Night Raw, that Bryan Danielson is going to be replacing Bret Hart and maybe taking on the Miz and finally getting his big victory that he needs to and establish themselves as Bryan Danielson. Thankfully, they got rid of the whole Daniel Bryan thing. Even more of a mark-out moment would be if WWE actually pays the rights to use the Europe song, the Final Countdown. If I hear that on Monday Night Raw, I will just flip out. I mean, it's already great, you know, that they killed off the Daniel Bryan name and he's Bryan Danielson. That would even be more of a mark-out moment if I heard that on WWE Monday Night Raw this upcoming Monday, if they actually do something like that. Then the other thing, just a few things with the draft. Now, obviously everyone knows that with the draft, pretty much a lot of people saying SmackDown got killed. I won't say SmackDown got completely killed, but they definitely should have kept someone, either an Edge or Chris Jericho. I don't think both of them needed to go Monday Night Raw. I think one of them should have stayed on Monday Night Raw because you needed someone like one of them. I think as far as in the main event on SmackDown, I would have preferred, you know, Edge going to Raw and Jericho staying on SmackDown, because Raw right now is just too stacked. Because, I mean, guys like John Morrison going on there and R-Truth are pretty much never going to have a chance, especially John Morrison. He could have a chance on SmackDown being a main event star. On Raw, he's never going to have a chance because you got John Cena, you got Triple H, even though he's out with injury, he's going to be back very soon. You got Randy Orton, you got Chris Jericho, you got Edge, you got Sheamus. I mean, you just got too stacked of a main event for someone like John Morrison to ever, you know, break through that glass ceiling and ever have a chance to compete in the main event. I think, you know, on Raw, he's going to be stuck as a main event talent, or not a main event talent, but a mid-card talent, or just teaming up with R-Truth. Now, the Hart Dynasty going to Raw, I actually like that. I think that's the best place for them to go, is to Monday Night Raw. And as far as SmackDown, you know, they got Kofi and Christian. That's really the main thing they got, and they got Big Show, which hopefully with this pay-per-view Over the Limit coming up, we don't see Big Show win the title, which I don't think is going to happen. But knowing WWE, you can't really, you know, I think what they're probably going to do with Jack Swagger, because it sounded like they got a plan to maybe have Jack Swagger versus Undertaker for the title at SummerSlam, which meaning that Swagger will have actually a pretty lengthy title run, or have the title for several months. Maybe they'll just do what they did to Rey Mysterio during his first title run with Jack Swagger. It's looking like that. Have him be pretty much a weak champion, look like he never can win, and just pretty much book him as a jobber champion that somehow keeps hold of the title. I think that's probably what they'll do with Jack Swagger. I'm glad that Kofi won the Intercontinental Championship instead of Christian, because if Christian would have won that on SmackDown, that would have really kind of held him back. So Christian being on there is probably the best thing right there, because Christian and Kofi being on SmackDown, they actually have a chance to maybe go for the championship, especially Christian, I think, has a very strong chance of going again for the championship, because you really don't have a huge, I mean, you got Rey Mysterio and CM Punk, they're kind of occupied with each other right now in a feud, so they're main event talents. You got Undertaker, which is kind of, you know, on and off somewhat and not fully there. Big Show, you know, he's a main event guy, unfortunately. Hopefully he doesn't win the title, and just as long as that don't happen, I'm fine with that. And you got Swagger on there. So with guys like that, Christian definitely has a strong chance of maybe becoming champion for the SmackDown brand and becoming World Heavyweight Champion by the end of the year, which, if that happens, that would be the best for SmackDown. I won't have no problem with WWE pretty much gutting SmackDown if Christian, you know, if they can have him, you know, be against guys like CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, Undertaker, you know, Swagger, even maybe Big Show. Maybe him and Big Show could even work pretty good against each other sometimes. And, you know, Christian could do a very good job as World Heavyweight Champion. So just want to come on here, give my predictions for the Sacrifice pay-per-view so on tomorrow night, and give my thoughts on a couple other wrestling topics. This is my TNA Sacrifice 2010 pay-per-view predictions. Now, after I give my preview and predictions for TNA's Sacrifice 2010 is airing tomorrow night, exclusively on pay-per-view, I'm going to give my thoughts on a couple topics I haven't given my thoughts on yet, since I haven't done a video in a little while. I apologize for the lack of videos this is probably the first video I've done in about 2 weeks, so apologize for the lack of videos, but I'll throw in my thoughts on Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, getting eliminated from Next this past Tuesday, thoughts on some of the things that happened at the WWE draft, and my thoughts on TNA moving back to Thursday nights and what I think of that. First, let me get on it. I'm kind of almost giving up on the Motor Machine Guns, not as I'm giving up on Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, or the team in itself. I'm really just giving up on TNA ever giving them a chance to hold on to the tag team championships, because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And when it does, no one's going to even care that, oh, hey, they finally won it after how many years of them trying to go after it, where it's just going to be like no one's going to care at all. And that's probably what they'll do. They'll probably maybe give them the title sometime down the line, but it's going to be at the point where it's so far past the time people want to see them, it's going to be pointless to even put them on the top, put the championships on them, because no one's going to really care. So Team 3D will most likely win this, like I said. So on to my predictions on Sacrifice 2010. Like I said, it's going to be airing tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. Gotta say, for this pay-per-view, it looks like it possibly could be a very good pay-per-view outing from TNA. The main event with AJ Styles and RVD is like one of those matches. Now, I don't want to call it a dream match because we've already seen it before on TNA Impact where they kind of gave it away on free TV and RVD won the title there. That was just a little taste of what them two are probably going to do on this pay-per-view, and this is going to be the type of classic, possibly 5-star type classic that many people have always wanted to see against these two, RVD versus AJ Styles in the main event of the pay-per-view. Anderson and Hardy could possibly be good as well. Next division title match, and really, there's only one match on this pay-per-view I would say is going to be in the category of god-awful and terrible and shouldn't be on here, and that's the Orlando Jordan versus Rob Terry match. Now, the first matchup is going to be the #1 contenders match for the Tag Team Championships. This is going to be Beer Money Incorporated versus Team 3D versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, since it looks like they're going to be going the route of a Team 3D versus the band of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash for the Tag Team Championships, obviously Team 3D is going to win this match so they can have their feud can continue, and this time it will be for the Tag Team Championships. Kind of hoping Motor City Machine Guns win, but they can have the Team 3D versus band feud continue, and this time it will be for the TNA Tag Team Championships. Now, the next matchup will be Terror versus Madison Rayne. This is career versus knockouts title, and obviously with Terror ending her TNA time on this pay-per-view, this is going to be the last time she's going to be on TNA, and it's either being rumored she might go back to WWE, or obviously the other thing she has been talking about trying for a little while is trying to do something in mixed martial arts. So either of those two avenues she would go, and this is going to be the last time she's going to be in TNA. So she's obviously going to lose this match, and Madison Rayne's going to keep a hold of the Knockouts Championship. Now,